But Xavier
Alright guys, go back more. NieR. We're still doing the Mother's Diary thing here, which involves us playing as adult NieR, which supposed from what I understand is kind of pointless. Supposedly it does add a little bit story-wise, but not much, but we'll do it anyway.
He's not somebody that's going to go off on his own just to be with Hannah against the entire Royal Flush. Derek's fine. But he does need to be the first out of Royal Flush.
Of course, as it should be, It's very fascinating. The dynamics of the Kings, I mean, obviously at this point they're the last remaining intact group of 4, right? And they've had now safety for 2 weeks in a row. So it's fun to see these dynamics play out.
We're not that high now. Alright, maybe we'll go and do...
This team's twist actually
let's continue the main story first, and then see if we level up enough, and then come back here.
I think it's paid off. It's paid off in a fun way.
So, Tiffany and Claire are going to talk a little bit. They're going to talk about making an alliance with Christian and Melissa.
What time is it? This will probably be it for today, this episode. It's already actually, it's well over 2 o'clock, holy shit.
Explanation. Christian and Alyssa talk a bit about how he's been dumbing himself down in the house. That you know, he intentionally tries
I already have the footage I probably need.
Let people feel that they're smarter than him. Because they clearly all think that they can like outsmart him in the end, which genuinely I think he does. I think that's like I've mentioned this before, but he'll always be like, so what am I
pretty much, yeah.
What am I doing? Am I throwing a competition? And he'll ask it like way too many times. Like he's already been told. Like he's definitely not that dumb. So I actually think this is decently clever of him because it's kind of working.
Fuck.
And then
I want to buy some. Do I have? I have 5. Yeah, so I might as well buy one.
That's something you can't hide. And she says there's no way she'd pull an Enzo and sit next to him in the final 2. And he tries again, and he convinces him to get on board targeting Whitney, and again fails.
Listen, you can't both pretend to be dumb and then also try and be the logical voice. That's not gonna happen. Because even if you tell, like, if you reveal your trick to someone of like, hey, I've been masking myself this whole time, they're still gonna need time to process that, and they're still gonna see you for kind of what you're putting out there. So,
oh shit, no,
it'll come with time, Christian. But I will say he is not hiding his capabilities. I mean, I've been away this past week, right? But I saw the clip of him doing backflips and push-ups and back in front of like 8 people. So you are, for someone who's playing dumb, you're pretty dumb for actually doing that in front of people. But we move.
Yes. So that's pretty much what's going on here. There's a lot to set up for today, obviously, as we're gonna have this wildcard competition. There are a lot of different ways that this can go. Really, you know, I'm thinking. So there was a little bit of talk of trying to convince Whitney that she's safe, so that she doesn't gun for the wildcard competition. Perhaps maybe safety. There was also a little bit of talk about like, what happens if Whitney wins the wildcard competition.
You didn't do anything wrong.
With nature's
what the fuck is going on? Okay, that was weird.
And what if she can save Hannah too? Like, what would we do if Hannah and Whitney are both safe?
You're just trying to protect the villagers.
Point,
and I jumped down your throat for it.
Was Brittany. Now, that does not necessarily mean that Brittany would be the pawn if only one of Whitney or Hannah was saved.
Please
only that Brittany would be likely the target if they
Horizon Forbidden West has been delayed.
That Brittany is the most threatening Joker, but because of that, they may avoid putting
until first quarter 2022.
So that if Whitney is safe but Hannah is not, they may put up Ozza or Big D as the pawn next to Hannah, as opposed to Brittany, and that's what should really matter to the Joker, of course. So there has been some talk here about
gonna have to adjust the schedule a bit. What the fuck is 2021 then? Holy shit. Like, what the fuck is this year?
We'll see. That would really be a very bad move for Christian. There's no reason for that to happen. Taking out Ozzy or Big D, he doesn't know it quite to the extent that he should, but would be very good for his game if one of them left, or even if Hannah left. And Brittany is very good for his game. Brittany has a little bit of a crush on Christian, as she said before, and I think absolutely wants to. I mean, she was going to put him up on the block next to Alyssa and was willing to send him home, certainly. However, she is somebody that he could work with down the line, and he has expressed interest in working with down the line. But the bridge that leads there is unusable. That he could theoretically need down the line. So take a boat. Brittany is also the kind of player that I could see feeling like I can be the canal's finally been repaired. You know what I mean? So like, whereas I think most people, even Alyssa, might not feel that way.
It took a lot longer than expected.
I don't think that's the right move for him if it comes to that, but it may not even come to that.
I also asked them to provide a boat at the path to the Lost Shrine's back entrance. The ferryman will let you use it free of charge. That should make it easier for you to move from town to town.
Thanks, Popo. I feel like you've done so much for me. I'm really grateful.
Sure.
God, wait! How are you still so unsure of this, Steven?
See you
What am I
later.
supposed to do? Meet
And
my
for the love of
family?
everything.
Yeah, stop overthinking it, Steven! Book the bachelor party in Vegas! Thanks, Captain Obvious. Booking a trip.
Wait, so what are we actually doing? So we're going back to the shrine. Okay, so yes, this is just us replaying almost the entirety of.
Yeah. I think that it's interesting. So here's the funny thing with Brittany, I feel like, because I feel like there's a little bit of sentiment as well of if we put her up again, she's got to go. Like we can't be doing this. Yeah. And like I feel like she's done this to herself, honestly, by reacting so heavily against being on the block again next to two
Half above the entrance to the shopping district should lead to the boat landing.
Easy to have your game be in the balance, but I feel like because of that behavior, it's almost gotten to a point where even aside from just like whether they think she has the best game or best capability or the biggest threat, because of the way she handles it, like we gotta get rid of her at that point. Because we don't want her to turn around, win it, and then come back after us. So we gotta get rid of her in that sense. It makes it interesting. Again, with this wildcard comp, it's kind of delayed all of the big decisions until the comp is over. So obviously their plan right now, I believe what they spoke last night about was that they want to do some team meetings before the wildcard comp and then push individuals right after the wildcard comp is over to solidify what's going to happen. But again, with that being a thing for safety, Vito still being up in the air, there's quite a few ways this could go. It's not as easy in Contra to say, well,
we're still doing this?
on the block, then they have the votes because it's the cookout plus DX and that's over and a safe. Because if they do choose to put up Azza or Derek F, we're gonna be seeing some wild situations in the week. So
yeah, it's. I mean, this is the true test. I think for specifically for Kyland, for Tiffany, for Xavier. Hannah, Azza, and Big D are. They're in the cookout, but they've not been the people driving the car
Lost
here.
Shrine's up ahead, just past this cave.
Tiffany, Kyland, and to some extent Xavier are the ones that have been, that have been the power players, and they've been doing very well. This has the chance to really be the first big test of their game. Are they capable of getting through this week cleanly? If Hannah and Whitney end up on the block, Xavier has struck out trying to convince Christian and Alyssa to change their targets, and Sarah Beth certainly as well. Kyland has also tried with Sarah Beth and has failed pretty dramatically, as she is
this is where we get to hear from.
Tiffany has tried a little bit, as I said earlier in the day. She has also failed. So, but they have all the tools they need because they have secret access to Hannah. And just as we've been talking, Hannah is talking to Kyland, and Kyland is giving Hannah, advice like this is, and Xavier was doing the same thing the night before, but trying to give Hannah essentially a script for okay, this is how you can respond to things, this is what you can say, and then the position that Kyland, Xavier, and Tiffany are in is that Christian, Alyssa, and Sarah Beth do not know that they're connected to Hannah and that they would be feeding Hannah things, so they can say things like, well, we need to watch out for this, or what about this? And they can, Hannah can say something to them, and then Hannah can talk to Christian can say it to Alyssa and Sarah Beth, and Xavier can hear about it, and then Xavier can be like, oh, that's an interesting thing, and have a prepared point to go off of that. There are a lot of ways. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that Anthony would do all the time in Big Brother Canada 7. He would plan things, and then it would get back to him, and then be able to use those as points. And so, you know, again, if Kyland, if Tiffany, if these guys want to be like top tier players, they're gonna have to be able to convince the Kings to change their target from Hannah.
Fucking climb the thing, thank you.
If that's what it ends up being, because otherwise they are going to be in a much trickier position here with the vote. The last thing they want to do is expose their numbers. I think that would be a lot more devastating to their games than perhaps they even realize. The Cookout being under the radar is by far its biggest strength right now. So.
Really?
That, you know, making this happen is going to be very valuable.
Kim Spradlin now has her own HDTV thing.
In the first place, because if you're too obvious about the fact that you're,
it's like, why? Like, that's so fucking. I know she's an interior designer. It's like, it's so fucking weird.
There's a lot of stuff going on here, but if the noms stay in this configuration, there's still a lot of intrigue. If they change configuration, there's a whole different slew of intrigues to go.
Oh yeah, like literally this live feed update can get moved if one of them is safe or off the block. Let me paint you a picture, Taryn, okay? I'm not saying I'm advocating for this picture, but imagine this picture. Whitney and Hannah are on the block, right? Christian's HOH, he'll be playing in the veto alongside them. The three veto pulls are Sarah Beth, Melissa, and Xavier. And now, Xavier wins veto. What is going... That is a lot in my head right now. Just imagining that formation where all the Kings are playing and Xavier's like, well, if Hannah can't win it, I have to win it to keep her safe. And then they have to, you know, they'll end up making it obvious what they're doing and he'd have to go against them. It would be a lot. It would be a lot. This is why I'm happy. I feel like for 2 weeks, it's been, we know who's leaving, but the gameplay has been so top-notch, so intriguing, so high impact, high velocity, quick, that we're in this week and the possibilities are endless and there's so many different places we're in and so many different ways this can go. I'm very intrigued to see how this plays out.
Yeah, so I think that Xavier's playing right now, and I'm seeing him talk to Christian as we speak.
We're hearing her.
He mentioned a lot like, well, whenever he was batted down by Sarah Beth, he'd be like, well, we don't have to make the decision right. We can wait and see as the week progresses. And he's been telling Hannah, like, be chill, don't talk game, just don't react negatively. And so I think what Xavier is hoping is that Whitney will freak out and he can convince Hannah to be chill. And he's saying like, well, let's see how they react.
Okay, so they redo these puzzles. That's annoying.
And he's now telling Christian that in his speech he should be like, I don't even have a target. I'm coming for you both. You both have said my name. Essentially, like, he can be in Hannah's ear like, don't worry, don't freak out. But Whitney might be like, what the hell? And I think he's hoping that Whitney will, you know, again, react poorly, and then he can use that to convince them to target Whitney. Now, part of the problem here is that when he mentioned we'll see how they react to Alyssa, she said, well, if Whitney reacts poorly, that's even better for us. She'll make an even bigger target of herself, and then she'll definitely be targeted next week. Like, it's gonna be hard here, and I don't know if this is gonna work the way he wants. But that's what he's, I think, attempting right now. We'll see how it works.
And you know, X has been playing relatively quiet, trying to not make a lot of splash, trying to not make a lot of big moves. This is his game being put to the test right here. This week, there's a lot on his shoulders, I feel like, or he's at least going to feel a lot on his shoulders, and he's going to try his best. We'll see if it pays off. Clearly, he's outnumbered in the opinions right now, but this house, you can never tell. Things can change on a dime. Different conversations can. And let me say, you talked about, you know, the whole Hannah be chill. Hannah, talking to Christian last night, Hannah kind of, how do I put this? Basically said, yeah, I mean, if anyone else had won, you'd be on the block. I'm not going to lie to you. Why would you say that? The dude is safe. The dude has nomination power. It was like, what do you want me to do? Lie to you? Yes, Hannah. Lie to his face. Lie to his dumb face. You know you have to do that. Why are you not doing that?
Hannah, the very smart player, is absolutely getting conned by Christian. Like, there's a quote from BioShock that always stuck with me. where the con guy in Bioshock talked about how he would take smart marks over dumb ones any day because they're so arrogant that they believe they can't be tricked, right? And I think that's where sort of Hannah stands right here, where like she sees Christian as this dumb dude who she can manipulate, and she thinks she can tell him anything and control him, and the reality is that he is playing up how dumb he is and is absolutely not going along. Now, granted, I mean, he still thinks that he has a good relationship with her, but like not nearly to the degree that she thinks that is what's going on. And it's very unfortunate because I do think she has potential in this game. She, you know, during Kylan's HOH, or the tail end of Kylan's HOH reign, had come pretty close to getting a full-on target on Alyssa. People were really talking about it, and that stuck around for a while. And the target is still on Alyssa. It wasn't there until Hannah put it there. However, she needs to have a little bit more. She needs to step back and have a little bit more humility and be like, okay, I may not know everything that's going on. Let me try and stop and
so I guess we have to fight these guys
for a second here, because if she can do that, I think that she can do well here. But she hasn't really been doing it.
Yeah, we'll see. I think similarly to what I said about Derek X week 1, when Derek X seemingly was in a bad spot, didn't really have anyone. I was like, he'll pick up the game, he'll pick up the pieces. He has all the tools needed to do so, and he has. Hannah, I feel like, has all the tools as well. Has to just kind of have this self-realization of her position not being that great, and that humility, that humbleness that comes with that. And I think she'll be able to navigate as well. The worry now for me is we'll see how she takes being on the block. Is it going to be a bit of a wake-up call? Is it going to make her realize things? Will that happen? I don't know. What I do know is that she has a team behind her that's going to work day and night to try and make sure she doesn't go, which is good, but I don't want her to feel complacent with it. I need her to feel a little bit more reserved, a little bit more shaken, a little bit more careful. Because that's the thing, I feel like there's no carefulness. The seatbelt does not fasten. You need to use that seatbelt. Really do.
So that's pretty much where we are. So I think the primary things to note here are that the real people pushing for Hannah to go, I mean the real person pushing for Hannah to go is primarily Zarabeth. And she's gotten Alyssa on board. I don't think Alyssa is as attached to it as Zarabeth is, but she's been convinced and she thinks it's the right move, and she will, I think, continue to push until somebody convinces her otherwise, and so far Xavier has not been able to do that. Christian, I think, doesn't really want to do it. I think if Christian had his choice, he would choose to take out Whitney, because why not? Whitney he doesn't have as much of a relationship with Whitney at all. She's theoretically not a vote for a jury, but she would vote for a woman. And Hannah, he feels like would vote for him in the jury and would not come after him, would come after probably somebody else on his team first. There's a lot of reasons why he would target Whitney over Hannah, but he's been convinced by Alyssa and Zarabeth and how strongly they think this is the right move, and he's sort of rationalized it in his head to some degree. It's a bigger resume move, whatever. But the fact that he doesn't actually think this is the right move for himself deep down means that there's definitely an in there, and we have seen Xavier, when working one-on-one with Christian, make some progress in the past. I mean, Xavier's the one that convinced Christian and subsequently then helped with Christian convince Alyssa to put Hannah on the block in the first place. So there's a chance that Xavier working on Christian one-on-one could make some progress, but then it may get batted back down by Alyssa. But if they both approach Alyssa without Zarabeth there and both present a united front, Alyssa may be convinced, may come around, and then all three of them can go to Zarabeth. That, I think, would be the best way to go about doing this. So, we'll see.
Just kick him aside.
Again, and that's just for these specific two nomination pairs. Wildcard competition hasn't happened yet. Veto could screw this up. So, again, lots of different ways this could play out.
Real quick, I would like to discuss Christian's list of most influential people, and that who has the most likelihood to influence him. So, when we say Alyssa's first, if so, who is second? I need to know who's second.
I would say Alyssa is first, by far. And then, so here's the thing. I think that the next person is the person who is most influential on Alyssa, if that makes sense. Like, yes. You know what I mean? And right now, I feel like that person is, to a degree, Sarah Beth. I mean, about this particular issue. But Tiffany also has had a decent amount of influence on Alyssa in the past. So yeah, I would say between Sarah Beth and Tiffany, they have been influencing Alyssa, who influences Christian. Xavier has a little bit of direct influence on Christian, but only with the approval of Alyssa, so that's tough. And then, you know, Christian does have his own opinions. Maybe he's in fourth place.
Creatures of the darkness.
Or fifth place.
In his own influences, he's not even on
So like he's trying to protect them.
Amazing. Yeah, I think we're in for a fun week. I really do. And this is going to be the last week with the teams, I believe. The last week with the wildcard comp. So, and they don't know this because they're clearly still talking about it like it's not going to be done for next week, which intrigues me even further.
I watch this be the week they don't like meticulously plan out who's dropping for who on the wall.
Oh my god! And then it happens. Yeah. So it's endurance next week, guaranteed. We were told we can watch it on.
Yeah, it's gonna be the wall.
Better keep that promise. I would like to see that. Are we assuming wall? Do you think wall is the likely outcome here?
It doesn't have to be. It could easily be slip and slide. Although they've been doing that later. You know.
Yeah, 16, 7.
I mean, given that, like, I always try to look at their decisions, not always in terms of, like, they think this is the best, you know, television or game decision, but this is the easiest to do. So, you know, it kind of makes sense that slip and slide would be later because they have to make fewer lanes. Whereas, like, on the wall, they just have to add, like, extra pegs. Like, it's not a big deal to how many people are up there. You know, they also did that, the wire competition last season. It was a veto, only 6 players, only 6 setups, only 6 rigs for that. So I would assume that with this many players, they probably are going to do something that's simple to set up for a, you know, full, 12 players. Or no, it'll be 11 players. You know, a wall, I would not be surprised, or something similar to that, like something more. You know, they have been putting some extra twists on it, so I would be surprised if it was a generic wall.
I forgot that even happened.
Something I think that's relatively simple wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I would like to throw a prediction out. I think we saw the surfboard. Maybe they gotta stand on some kind of surfboard-looking thing instead of a wall, potentially. That could be a shout. But like you said, if there's 11 people, 11 competing, it's a lot of space. They need a lot of space. So maybe, you know, it might be something that's a little bit more like the carousel that Johnny Mac won, where like they'll have to stand on a little disc and they spin around and get mocked. Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah, that one I think also probably pretty easy to set up. Only people Alright, so that's about what we have for you here for yesterday. There's going to be a lot today. Again, a lot of different agendas, a lot of different possibilities. You're definitely going to have to tune in tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern when update you on everything that's going to happen today on the Big Brother 23 live feed. I'll also be live with Rob in the Patreon group in just a bit, around probably when the feeds go down for the wildcard competition to talk through things. If you are a patron, join us there. You can join the call, ask a question of us. It would be a lot of fun, right? Especially with so many possibilities to talk through.
I fear there is little we
There's
can
also,
do
we talked with Brent in our exit interview. That is out. Some interesting answers there. We bonded over both being targets of Frenchie. So, you know, definitely a lot there in that interview to enjoy, I think. Check that one out. And you can, of course, find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Darren Armstrong, live during every episode to watch with you guys, as well as all the other streams and fun things, especially ones I have again, which may happen sometime in my lifetime.
Fingers crossed for you, man. Seriously, it's ridiculous. It really is. I feel it. I feel it.
Yes, and you, of course, can find me on Twitter as well, at Armstrong Terran. Puya, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Puyaism, other major platforms at Puyaism, on Twitch. However, you can find me on twitch.tv/Puya. I will be live tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern for the pad. Come through, hang out with us. It's always a good time. And then as far as podcasting goes, you can check out 90 Day Fiancé. I had Mari on this week. We had a great old time. And Jenny and I have been talking about the blast of the show that is Sexy Beast. So go check that out if you're into seeing weird stuff, but then also hearing about weirder stuff. We had Jacob on last episode, so you can imagine how weird that got. Spoiler, very weird.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right, that's what we have for you guys. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And
I can't be with. We're always going to be together, Kaine. If you transform again, we'll just stop it again. I don't care how tough it is. We're gonna get you back. I like sleeping outside because I'm with you, Kaine. I'm able to ignore my appearance and keep going because of you. I'm weak, and I'm sad, and I'm lonely. But you make me strong. You're my friend, and I need you. So don't you dare leave me. All right. Stop crying. Thanks. I'm all right.
Over there.
Okay, so this is the thing, right? Fuck.
And what is this?
It's me. It's got some kind of writing on it, but I don't know what it says.
Yay, we'll do this again.
How remarkably useless of you. Well, let's go ask Popola.
It's a cipher of some kind.
Can you determine its meaning?
I think this is the key to unlocking the Shadow Lord's castle. Here, take a look at this. I wrote down all the words I can understand. This fragment is called the Stone Guardian. Given that you found it in the Lost Shrine, the words must mean something. There are spaces here for 4 other fragments as well. Sacrifice, the Law of Robotics, the Memory Tree, Loyal Cerberus. The Law of Robotics probably refers to the Junk Heap, and the Memory Tree might be the Forest of Myth. But as for Sacrifice and Loyal Cerberus, I don't have a clue.
What was Loyal Cerberus?
If we want to fill in the words, we just run around the world killing every big monster we find, right?
Oh, splendid. By all means, let us undertake a murderous rampage.
They're just shades. Besides, it's the only way to reach the Shadow Lord.
It's a dangerous task.
Yeah, well, Yona's in even more danger.
But how can you even be sure that she's...
Because she is, right? The Junk Heap in the Forest of Myth, yeah? I'm on my way.
Please be careful. Oh, and listen. The villagers know how much they've sacrificed, and they're thankful. It's just... they're scared, you know? People can't change overnight. I'll hurry them along the best I can. Can you please give them a little more time?
I'll try.
Alright, so we'll go save and then we'll call it a night. Fuck, 2022 is gonna be so stacked if everything doesn't get delayed. Fuck, so... I guess we'll do that.
Said we might be able to...
Perhaps we can find...
Yeah, so, we're essentially gonna have to replay a lot here. So that's gonna be fun. I don't know, to be honest, I'm kind of just bored at this point. Like, I really don't care. I'll probably continue on with this. But to be honest, I'm not really that interested in doing so. But whatever, and we'll just rush through it. Like, I'll really just try to rush through it because I just want to finish NieR Replicant here. And move on to Automata. And then, yeah. After Automata, try to get some other games played, like Disco Elysium, Metal Gear Solid 5. Some other games I feel like I need to play before to make my top games of the generation. But yeah, that's it. Next episode. Continue on. For now, thank you for watching.